good morning, good afternoon, good evening. However you're watching, wherever you're watching, however you're listening, wherever you're listening, it is the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. We haven't gone anywhere. We've just been busy. As Varnell Hill says on the Martin Lawrence Show, did you miss me? Long time no see. It's the Bearded Bandits today. It's me, the guy, Ryan Dyrud. How are you doing? It's fine. Thursday evening.
Coach, I've missed you. I feel like it's been way too long. We everyone was like sick, and then we were on Radio Row in Vegas, so then that was a little hiatus, and it's good to finally be back and see you. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm actually don't sound as nasally as I thought I would sound. I'm really cleared up, but I was messed up. I was jacked up. I had a sinus infection. I had a sinus infection. I thought it was a headache. And I was just like, man, this headache is going on for a long time. I thought it was because of the rain and everything. We got some wind out here in Corona. Thought it was because of that. Got a headache. And then, you know, us, we don't really like going to the doctor. Then finally the wife was like, I'm going to go to the doctor to see if I could just get like some, what is it called? Like doctor strength Excedrin or whatever to try to beat it. They ran some tests, came back. They was like, dude, you have a gnarly sinus infection. And if you would have waited any longer, it would have got to your brain. It would have been all bad. So, yeah. Yeah. So they gave me like some extreme nasal spray and like some pretty much doctor strength Sudafed. I had to show my ID at Walgreens to get it. So
good stuff.
Yeah, some good stuff. So, but
I'm glad you're better.
This morning I woke up and I was like, wow, okay, cool. I'm not nasally, but yeah.
That medicine works, huh?
It works. It works really good. So
that reminds me of this pre-COVID, everything is, well, I feel like everything's kind of back to how it was. It's not really as paranoid as everyone used to be, but I remember pre-COVID, back when you were sick, you just worked still. It didn't matter. I worked in the restaurant industry, which is even like sketchier, actually, like handling people's food. But like it was literally probably, I don't know what the years was, 5-6 years ago, but it was over Valentine's Day week. And in the restaurant industry, that's like the busiest time. So I was like, got super sick, but I had like 6 shifts straight where I was on the schedule, and it's like the busiest time. So I just worked. I felt terrible. I won't get into how I felt, but eventually I was finally like, all right, my girlfriend, now wife, Monica, was like, you got to go to the doctors. I finally went, and I had like a horrible case of strep throat and had to get like narcotics, a shot. And I'm just, just cruising, handling people's food. Like that was how it was back in the day. And now it's like you stay away for 2 weeks.
Yeah. At my former job, because I'm starting a new job on the 4th of March, but at my former job, at our last Christmas party that we had, there was at least, let's say it's a company of 500 people. There was at least 150 people that got sick. Ooh. Like when everybody came back, there was either like Ys or people who got sick, and they were down for like 2 weeks, but they all tested negative for COVID. So it was whatever that was, that spread it like wildfire at that Christmas party. So things spread. It is that season though, but we're on the end of it because time changes on the 10th. So spring is almost here. Today was the first preseason game for the Dodgers.
There you go.
Yeah. I want you to remember Teoscar. Teoscar is going to be a dude for the Dodgers, and I don't be surprised if at the end of next year he gets a really big contract from the Dodgers. Teoscar is a dude, but that's a different sport. But Teoscar is going to be big for the Dodgers. He will have a jersey in the shop. Let's see, season starts March. By May, people will be wearing Teoscar jerseys. Teoscar's a dude. I liked him with the Mariners. So.
Well, we'll wrap him down at Philippe's downtown before pregame.
Philippe's is the spot,
dude,
man.
Best. Gotta go there before a Dodgers game. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, let's roll into it. Before we roll into it, how was Vegas? How was the Super Bowl? Not the Super Bowl, but how was Radio Row? How's the week and all that? That was all good?
It was great. Yeah, busy, but really fun. Met a lot of people. We had obviously Mo Hassan on the show. As everyone who's watched the show saw, we met Matt Leinart, so hopefully getting him on here soon. Him and his people were definitely down to come on, and it was they didn't want to come on that week, which is honestly better. So we'll get them on later. But yeah, always a good time. There's always just so many athletes, media people, celebrities cruising around. So it's just chaos all the time. So next year we'll have you out there on the row so you can experience it, because it is certainly an experience. That's for sure.
I'm definitely
this year.
I'm definitely going to Radio Row. I will be in New Orleans, walking around with what do they call hand grenades. I might have a hand grenade on Radio Row, having a really good time.
There you
So
go.
I'm not missing any more Super Bowls. Unless it's in an extremely cold place, then we have to really talk about that one. But that's neither here nor there. Hey, so let's roll into it. We got some big news. We got two big articles. One came out on LAFB. You guys go over to the website, check it out. Lincoln Riley had a press conference. Was it today? Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan.
Well, he was on a podcast. Our guy, I know him fairly well. His name's JD Pickle, does a podcast for On3. So he was on his show this morning.
Okay, so
yeah.
he was on that might be a good guy to have as a guest, JD Pickle. Let's see if we can reach out to him. Yeah, so on JD Pickle's podcast this morning, they talked about the quarterback room. Lincoln Riley's quote was, "I really like our room, and we're going to let them compete." I'm paraphrasing. I'm not going word for word. We really like our room. We're going to let them compete, and that's how great quarterbacks are made.
Yep.
It's probably going to send the Trojan fan base up in arms, and they're going to go crazy. I'm here to tell you guys, don't worry. He's doing the right thing. You remember I said a long time, I said after the Holiday Bowl when we had I think it was our live show, or maybe the show after, what do you do with Miller Moss? We know he's the guy, but you don't make him the guy because you've done that in the past and it didn't work. Make him compete. Make him compete for his job so he can be better. Keep that guy on his heels. We know his last name, Mayava.
Yep, Jaden Mayava, yep.
Mayava, we know he's good. Is he ready to have the keys to the kingdom yet? He's not ready to be the Emperor Troy yet. Don't worry. But if he's great competition in practice, and if he is just as good as Miller Moss, and God forbid, knock on wood, Miller Moss goes down, we have a great backup. But I love that Lincoln Riley is putting that out there. I'm saying right now, don't worry, don't panic. Excellent quote. I'm going to end with this, and I'll pass it to you, Ryan. Lincoln Riley, and I wish Jamal was here today. Maybe it's something we could talk about on Monday. We'll talk about that on Monday. Lincoln Riley, we'll talk about what he's been doing since after the Holiday Bowl, and if we're happy with it. Lincoln Riley has kept to his word, and he has really been working hard. I just did an interview with a guy who's doing former coaches in athletics, and one of the things was a lot of people think you need to spend more time when you say I got to work harder. And I was like, a good person you could use as an example is Lincoln Riley. He's working harder, but he's not working harder at spending more time. His effort this offseason is amazing. He's doing everything right in the media. He's doing everything right recruiting-wise. He's doing everything right as far as hiring the staff. Lincoln Riley is really keeping true to his word. Right now, like, my offseason grade for Lincoln Riley is like an A, and we'll talk about this more next week. But I just want to touch on it. Like, Lincoln Riley is doing a very, very good job this offseason. What do you think about the comments?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think Lincoln Riley's had a great offseason, and based on what, last year and, saying like, he's committed and wants to see this be a defensive school and all this, like he's, put up or shut up, right? He's done everything to that extent in terms of hiring coaches, in terms of being on the recruiting trail, in terms of bringing guys in that want to be Trojans and are committed to being a USC Trojan. I think his comments on the QB room I totally agree with you, Coach. I think it's what it should be. I think we all agree right now that this is Miller Moss's job to lose based on what he means to the program, based on how long he's been here, based on what we saw in the 4 quarters of play in the Holiday Bowl.
Yep.
But that being said, I agree. You can't just hand him the keys because he's a kid that's fought and clawed his way since joining USC. Why change that now? Keep him fighting and clawing, earning it. And when he gets it, it's just going to be that much. It's going to make him that much better. And then Jaden Mayava, as you mentioned, I mean, he was the all-freshman Mountain West Player of the Year. I mean, he was no slouch, and he's a young kid, a lot of talent. I still think it's an uphill battle for him to win it, but it wouldn't shock me if he does beat out Miller Moss, if he put into work and it enters the program and fits in the system really well. So I completely agree. I think it's the right thing of how Coach Riley's approaching this. It's the right thing about, I think, how this whole team should approach. Like, obviously we've gone through position breakdowns and kind of talked about, starting rotations and whatnot, but I think you approach it at every level. Like, look, last year was a disappointment. We're having an open competition at every position. There is no guaranteed starter on this roster. And that includes our quarterback position, the most important one. So I think it's a good start. And I agree, though. I'm happy with the room. I do think they'll get one more in there in the spring transfer portal class once that opens up. But I think they're in a good spot. And yeah, I agree. It's the way it should be.
Yeah, so you just brought up something that it made me instantly triggered in my mind when you said that, like he's been fighting the whole time. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but I can kind of relate to it. It's like buying your car compared to you being given a car. Yep. You know what I mean? When you're given a car, it's like, oh, I got a car. But when you buy a car, you're like, you put everything into it to make sure the car runs great. Like it's your car. Like I worked hard to get this. It's my car. I'm going to do everything to make sure this car works good, looks good. I want everybody to know that this is my car. I worked hard for, and I bought this car. Like, it's like this. So that's, I mean, if that works for Miller Moss too, like the scratching and clawing at it and keeping him competitive, man, like I said, Lincoln Riley's doing a lot of things this offseason that's pointing in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, it's a really fine line, right? And you coached for years and you played for years, so you know it. Because it's a fine line, because there's one aspect of it where, you know, depending how guys are wired, you know, you always want to be pushing them. You always want to, nothing's guaranteed. Like you got to earn it every single day, every inch. But then there's a level of that too. Cause I remember when I played, and you know, my junior year worked my butt off to get to a starting receiver role on varsity. Like I was at every morning practice, every summer training day that was optional, quote unquote, but obviously you had to be there.
It's called voluntold.
Yeah, exactly. And as all those worked my butt off, I became basically the slot receiver on varsity week 1. And after week 1, between week 2, broke my collarbone in practice on kick return. All that work. When I came back 8 weeks later, I was like 9th on the depth chart. Like, didn't matter what I did in the offseason. Now, I'm not saying I deserve to all of a sudden be back in the rotation, but there's that fine line where, and I'm not saying Miller Moss is going to get injured, God forbid, and let's knock on wood here. But you've got to have that fine line where it's like we want to push and you need to work and earn, but we don't want to just keep burying you, because eventually that can just kill your drive when you're like, man, what am I doing? I'm putting all this work in. The teammates love me, and I just can't quite get over the hedge. I mean, what do you think of that? Maybe I'm wrong there. It just depends on maybe the player too.
You're slightly right, but if coaches have any integrity, you're not supposed to lose your spot due to injury. So so your coach was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, agreed.
Your coach is kind of a jerk. You shouldn't be 9th because you got injured. But no, if it does become a quarterback battle due to injury, the thing about it is we know the future is bright. So there's a silver lining in the cloud, right? Miller Moss comes in, he gets a spot respectively, but now you created a battle because Mayava's come in 2 games, a half, a quarter, whatever, done really well. And now you're like, oh man. The thing about it is it's going to be tricky. And so you have to, this is the tricky part with Lincoln Riley. If Mayava comes in, it's going to be a different playbook from Miller Moss. And he's really, really good at that. What we saw in the Holiday Bowl was not the same offense, a style that we saw with Caleb Williams. Different play calling, different type of stuff. So, with that being said, Mayava will look really good because no team will prep for him to come in, because he's going to different play calling, that type of thing. Same style of offense with different play calling to cater to Mayava, which makes Lincoln Riley really good. But you have to start looking at decision-making, mechanics, what he does with the ball, because he'll get in and dominate and be like, oh, quarterback battle. No, hold on. Was that really a good decision? Like, you really have to evaluate the film with Lincoln Riley because of that's the best part about Lincoln Riley. That's why he's a quarterback coach and he's a guru, because he'll put him in the best situation possible.
Yeah. I don't – is there a world – like, I don't want this to happen, so I'm just putting the question out there. Is there a world, and this never really happens anymore in modern college football. This was more of a 90s, early 2000s thing. But is there a world where maybe they do a dual quarterback system?
I don't want
for some plays, Mayava for some.
There is a world, but that world belongs at Bowling Green and Western Kentucky,
Florida.
Oh yeah, or Florida was doing it this year, actually, I think, or Miami, one of those Florida schools. So we don't want that world. Yeah. No. So that's great to see. Let's move forward. If you guys want if baseball season started today, it was the first preseason game, like we talked about. We got basketball going on. We got a little PGA golf. You guys want to get involved in it? Hockey's in the middle of the season right now too. Under Saw Fantasy, you can get a parlay with all those sports in one ticket. Put $5, pick 2, pick 3, pick 6. Go to underdogfantasy.com or visit Underdog Fantasy in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. We will match a $100 bonus. Put in promo code USC LAFB. So moving on, another big news in the world: the Chargers snatched running back coach from the Trojans, Kiel McDonald. Right?
LA on LA crime. It keeps happening.
Yeah, it keeps happening. So I was thinking about this. You're going to see a triangle start to happen here, where you'll see coaches go to the Chargers and the SC and to the Rams. Like, you're starting to see a triangle here, which is good for LA as far as football. Very good. It sucks for the team that loses it, but then you get a guy to come in. But you'll never see Chargers Rams. You'll see Rams to SC, Chargers to SC, SC to Rams or Chargers, if that makes sense. I don't think you'll ever see Chargers Rams, just to clear that up, because they'll attack me. You'll attack me in the comments. Why would a coach leave the Chargers go to the Rams? Blah blah blah. This and that. Or UCLA. UCLA is going to get involved in that too. So you'll see that. You'll see UCLA to pros to UCLA and USC. But I don't think
Give Smith went from the Chargers to the Rams.
There you go.
But
so it can't happen.
The only way it happens, because I know what you're trying to say, because you're right. The only way it happens is the Chargers, Brandon Staley was fired, so he was a sitting duck on that staff. So Give Smith went from a fired staff to the Rams, or a promotion. So Coach Henderson, he's like full LA. Coach Henderson originally was assistant defensive line coach for the Chargers, then became the official defensive line coach for the Rams, and now he's co-DC D-line coach for the Trojans. So he's only got to he got to be UCLA head coach next. That's his next move, I guess.
That's his next move.
Make the full four.
He might be the UCLA head coach after they complain that because UCLA is not putting any money in the system. Say Deshaun Foster's not doing a great job. He's doing the best he can with what they're giving him. That's a shot at the Bruins, but neither here nor there. Anyway, so you got to replace him. So a couple of thoughts came through my mind. Who do you replace him with? Right? There's a bunch of names out there, and then it finally clicked, and you go with two options. These are my two options. I should say you go with these two options, but these are two options in my opinion. One option is you have a young guy on your staff that you could really make better right now. And for the record, historically, running back coach is the lowest paid position on staffs. Tight end and running back coach don't get paid like the rest of the guys on the staff. It's like tight end, running back, linebacker, and then the other ones start to make more money. But neither here nor there. There's a young guy on your staff right now that works really well with the kids. And if you want him to advance his career, putting him on the other side of the ball might be a good idea. He has enough time to learn it. I think promote Taylor Mays and put him at running back coach. Here's why. Running back in Lincoln Riley's system is not very complex, right? It's not like they're getting hundreds of thousands of yards and they're getting 10 carries a game. You know what I mean? Like, learn pass protection, tuck the ball away, drills, get through it. Not to put anything against the running back position, but I think Taylor Mays, you promote him, pay him a good amount of money, and then you have him on your staff. So when he goes to his next spot, he has some experience on the offense side of the ball. Mm-hmm. My second option is bring back a legend who has coached a Heisman Trophy winner and loves LA. You bring back Todd McNair. I think Todd McNair will be a very good pick. Been at USC. It kind of builds that bridge of the disconnect with the tradition and what's missing. I think T-Mac can bring that back, and that makes it happen. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
And before you go, who do you think is a good replacement?
Yeah. So, first, interesting. Taylor Mays would be interesting. Obviously, a lot of people would be. I wonder what people's response would be, because obviously didn't play running back, has never coached it. But like you said, it's a lot of coaching is learning yourself too, and learning how to do different things and coach different positions. It would definitely be better for him as a future coach to be able to know both sides of the ball and get different pedigrees and different experiences. So I don't know how the fit would be, but it would certainly be interesting. And yeah, McNair I think would be a good one as well. Obviously the lineage there. So, and the history. I think it would be interesting. So wouldn't be opposed to really either of those. My two that I'll throw out. First one, and what's interesting about this is why he didn't go with Harbaugh to the Chargers and why Harbaugh had to go and get McDonald from USC, and that's Mike Hart, running back coach for Michigan. Now, maybe it's Mike Hart's a, Michigan legend, alma mater. Maybe he just didn't want to leave, and maybe he won't want to leave unless SC throws the bag at him, which they seemingly have done this offseason to coaches, so they probably would. But obviously a very good running back coach, played the position. We know how Michigan running backs have been the last, years since he's been there. So the pedigree is definitely there. So, I mean, he's a guy I think would be a slam dunk home run hire if they're able to get him. The other interesting one is you go back to that Oklahoma well and go get DeMarco Murray. Murray, another legend.
Is he coaching?
He's the RB coach at Oklahoma, and he started in 2020 when Lincoln Riley was still there. So Lincoln Riley hired him as running back coach. So there's definitely some synergy there. And I know a lot of people want to distance themselves from the Lincoln Riley Oklahoma days because of Alex Grinch, but I don't think anyone on the offensive side of the ball has been in any issue under Lincoln Riley. So I think it's okay to go to the well for offense. Just don't go to the well for defense. And we're obviously past that. But DeMarco Murray, I mean, that's a guy that, we know what he did as a player in college and the pros. And then, we know what he's done so far as a coach in terms of the output they've had. He was obviously after some of the great Oklahoma running backs that came out. But as a coach there since 2020, they've still had some good backs come through. So I think that'd be an interesting one.
Did DeMarco Murray play while Lincoln Riley was there?
So he played 2006 to 2010. So I don't think Riley wasn't
there yet. I think he was still at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But that might be a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. And I mean, running back, I don't want to, how do I say this? Running back is not hard to coach. You know what I mean? It's more of putting them in the right position and teaching their eyes to be in the right place. And then pass blocking. Like that's, and there's still a lot that goes to it, but it's compared to like a defensive back where you have to learn technique and then learn your eyes and on top of plays and being in the right position at the right time. What do you do when you get beat? There's a lot of stuff that happens to it. Linebacker and running back is kind of like linebacker is see hole, feel hole, make tackle. Bam. You get blocked, bunt shed, rip off, make a tackle. So that's why I really like Taylor Hastings because it's a promotion and makes him a better coach, right? So even if he goes back to the defensive side, it makes it better. So DeMarco Murray, though, that might work because the offense was still kind of the same when he was there. So that really is a good one. So DeMarco Murray, that is a good one. I like that one. So we'll see what Lincoln Riley does. We can move forward. As we move forward, I don't think it's a rush right now. I don't know if they're on dead period yet or they're about to start opening up recruiting. But the way they were recruiting, I'm pretty sure they can handle McDonald's recruits also. So I don't really see it as an issue.
Excuse me. Yeah, it feels like he was definitely a good coach, obviously coached some good backs, and we saw what he did with Marshawn Lloyd last year, and he was at Utah when Zach Moss was there, so great coach there.
Austin Jones. Don't forget Austin Jones.
Yeah, Austin Jones as well, of course. But yeah, in terms of recruiting, he obviously has an impact, but I don't think it'd be worse losing, a different, I don't want to downplay how important he was, but it's worse losing one of those other guys. Like you lose the O-line coach. That guy's recruited 10 offensive linemen in the last 2 years. And so that would be a huge loss comparatively. So,
no. When you lose a receiver coach, O-line coach, defensive back coach, you're scrambling. This, you could take a little bit of time and keep moving forward and get it done. So hopefully make a good decision. And
I was just going to say spring game is April 20th. So they probably won't even start the spring, practice schedule till, almost end of March, beginning of April. So you got a little time.
Are we going to the spring game?
Hell yeah, we're going to the spring game.
There we go. Going to
420, baby.
Get some Tyson ears.
That's right. That's right. Got to enjoy it at the Collie.
Yeah. So the key with the running back coaches, and I'll just end it on this. And if you have anything to wrap it up with, I'll throw the the key with the running back coach is he has to be as solid as a recruit as the rest of the staff right now, because the rest of the staff is recruiting their butts off and they're working hard. So I think recruiting, it has to be his number one thing, and then everything else could follow behind. And I think that could make it work. Yeah.
No, totally agree. It would have been really interesting had Deshaun Foster not been promoted 6 days ago if this happened, and maybe they're like, all right, let's just go get Deshaun. We already got DeAnton.
Yeah.
Deshaun as well. I mean, he was actually with the Raiders at that point before he got promoted. But no, I agree. It needs to be someone that's going to be hard on the recruiting trail, which I think a guy like Taylor Mays, you mentioned, not a running back guy, but I mean, he would hit that hard. I mean, he would put all into it, showing his salt. A guy like DeMarco Murray would hit it hard.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like Mike Hart would hit it hard. So that's, I think, what you want is one of those guys that's hungry to get in that SoCal battlefield, that battleground of running backs and keep these guys home.
T-Mac will hit it hard too. T-Mac was responsible for having that big running back room that one time when it was like Mark Tyler, Emmanuel Moody, Stephon Johnson, CJ Gable. Right. He coached Reggie, Lindell White. Like he was like Pac-10 recruiter of the year, like 3 years in a row one year. I mean, like T-Mac will hit it hard too. So recruiting has to be the mainstay. So that definitely works.
Lindell's chilling, right? Maybe we give him a call.
Yeah, Lindell. If Lindell wants to do it.
He's at every game. He's hanging out.
There you go. If he wants to do it, definitely. Those on the Mighty 1090, thank you for listening. Ryan, it's been a fun one. We're in and out. It's been real quick. We might do a lot of short shows now that we're heading into the all season. Spring ball, we might have a long one, but guys, we appreciate you. We love when you guys join in. I know you guys missed us. We're back full fledged. We'll have the madman back here all Monday. If not, we'll dock his pay.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll see if the Queen will ever come back. We'll see if she'll be back whenever.
Got to get the Queen back. She's doing TV in Detroit right now too, so the Queen might be. We might have lost the Queen. Hopefully, we did not. Hey guys, do us a favor though. What you want us to talk? Whatever you guys want us to talk about right now during the spring season while we're in a low, throw it down there. We'll consider it. Hopefully, one of your topics might be on the show, so that'll also be a thing. Ryan, I appreciate you. It's been fun as always.
Always.
It is the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast. You guys know how it goes. Live free, fight on.